Hey, what's up guys? Well, I figured I'd do a review on this 36 LED light bar that I picked up for my TRX4, and now I've had some time with it. I've been messing around with different things with it, especially different resistors and no resistor, and discovering as much as I can about it. And well, here's the straight goods. The light bar is said, according to the specs, whether you buy it from Banggood or Wish.com or wherever, between 5 volts to 7.4 volts. And I found that running a 7.4 volt LiPo, which by the way, as we all know, every battery always charges over the capacity of the rated main voltage, because you have what's called no load voltage, which would be 8.4, load voltage 7.4, okay? So when I was doing resistor testing, I was testing the main resistor without having to put a draw on the battery other than the resistor, of course, so I'm not putting a load on it like the light bar. So I was messing around with different ones until I could get 7.2 volts coming out of the battery with the resistor, and I figured, well, alright, that's pretty good, so let's slam her on there. And it wasn't as bright as I thought it should be or would have been, and I did originally connect direct to the battery without a resistor, and so the low voltage should be around 7.4, right? You would think. Well, it doesn't always work that way in the world. So it went really super bright, which is nice, and you know, if I was over voltaging it, it would actually cook the LEDs quite rapidly. And but it would run really hot, and the metal would get so hot, literally you could probably cook bacon and eggs on here, okay? It would get really super hot, like you don't want to touch it, and it wouldn't take long to do it. So, anywho, back I went to experimenting with resistors and found a resistor that seemed to work really good, and it said 7.2 volts as a no load. So I thought, alright, but it's still really not as bright as I'd like it to be, or what I think it should be, considering all things. So I went back, and of course I went back to having a no load resistor on it, so no resistor whatsoever. And of course we're back to being super bright again and cooking eggs. So I thought, alright, we can't have this, because after about 3 minutes of runtime it started to warm the plastic up underneath, right? And I'm thinking, well, this is gonna cook my truck after a bit, so we don't want to do that. We need to cut the voltage back. So I found a resistor that knocked the voltage back to about 8.2 volts no load, and I thought, alright, I'm going to hook this on and fire it up, and this is what I come up with. Now this is really bright, okay, but I can keep this thing on continuously. This bar will get warm to the touch, but it will not get hot where it's going to injure you. It's not going to get hot to the point where it's going to actually do any damage to the body. It's just going to get warm. You know, you're going to feel the difference between cold and warm metal. It's going to get warm, and that's it. So I thought, well, that's kind of funny. So I went back and I opened up the connections, and I tested with the multimeter what the low voltage was registering with the light turned on and just the 2-cell direct in, and it turns out it was at about 6.5 volts. So I'm thinking, okay, that's pretty good. So let's see if we got another resistor. So I'm around 6.2. Right now I'm between 6.2 to 6.5, in about that area. A lot of it has to do with how tight your connections are too. But so we'll say we're pushing no more than 6.5 volts. Now off of the BEC on your ESC, when you plug into your receiver, an average receiver will put out about 5.8 volts. So you could plug the light direct into your receiver and you'd be fine. It'd be nice and bright. But you know, being at 6.5 volts, you're at a safety margin there. And that's the whole point of this discussion and yammering on, is to give you guys a little bit of an education on these lights now that I've learned something about them myself. Okay, and you're gonna definitely either want to go off of your receiver for power if you can. I can't because all my slots are full, except for 2, but they don't seem to be put out power. They're for other accessories for the truck. One of them's a TSM and the other one is something else, and it doesn't seem to want to power the light. So I figure, well, whatever. So anyway, I'm going with different setup anyways because I want my lights powered away from my main battery. This way I don't interrupt runtime. But I think that this is pretty smoking bright now. Now I'm going to show you what happens when you go direct onto this battery, because this is like a night and day difference here. So I built a little bypass unit too, by the way. This is my little unit that has my resistor in it. So this way I can go either way. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to unplug the 2-cell. We'll plug this back into the harness because this way we don't lose it. Alright, so now we're going to go direct into the 2-cell. What a difference, eh? It's so bright it actually makes the background that I'm seeing kind of darkish. That is super, that is like lighting up my whole kitchen right now, like super bright. And it's still like broad daylight outside and we got lots of light coming in the house. That's super bright. And now that's actually getting like really warm, so I'm gonna unplug this now. And we're gonna go back to our other power system, which makes use of our resistor. Alright, so now we got the resistor in place, and you'll notice, huge difference, isn't there? So between 6.5 volts to pumping 8.4 charged voltage, which should, in theory, haul it back to around 7 something. That I didn't test, just because I found no point to it, only because you can't run it for very long direct into a battery before this is going to start getting really cooking hot. Okay? And so this way you get a bit of a warm touch, but that's all it's going to be. You're not over voltaging the lights, you're not popping LEDs, you know, so you're, I mean, these are rated for like 100,000 hours, and you're not going to get that if you're running a straight LiPo direct into it. Even a straight NIM pack right in. Because even a regular NIM pack is 7.2 volt, fully charged is 8.4 volts, the same as a LiPo would be 7.4 fully charged 8.4 volts. So discharge rate doesn't really make a difference, it's the main voltage here. Milliamps, of course, to feed the thing helps for runtime, but that's about it. So overall, for a $14.77 light before, what was it, $2 or $3 for shipping from Banggood, I think it's a great LED light. Can't wait to try this out tonight and shoot a little short video with that. I do have to readjust my angle with my camera and the lighting to get better lighting, so I'll have that set up ahead of time for you guys before I even shoot the video. However, if you're looking at this light bar for something like the TRX4 Tactical, it just fits. Just fits, okay? This thing is like very borderline. I don't know about the other bodies. You're gonna have to check your widths. But to tell you what kind of width you need for an exact fit like I've got, I shall find a tape measure somewhere around this house. There's one. Now the bar itself, it measures 6 inches. You need just shy. So you need about, I like my cheater tapes better. Actually, yeah, you need exactly 6 inches on the insides. So you'll have the door, like the door frames here, this part, you'll have that where it's freed up, but your main mounting area, you got 6 inches there. The bar is 6 inches, well actually the actual bar is just a hair under 6. With the brackets on, it is 6 inches. And you got to have the brackets facing inward in order to get them on there. It's pretty tricky to get it all on there pretty dead even, but I got her pretty bang on. So, but yeah, you need 6 inches there. And that just fits the TRX4 Tactical. So check the measurements of your other bodies if you have different than the TRX4 Tactical body. I definitely would recommend this thing, but I'm also going to definitely recommend you pick yourself up a multi-pack of resistors and find a resistor that gives you a unload voltage reading of about 8 to 8.2 volts, and that should put you right in the safety margin by the time you get the load of the lights for the power they're gonna draw. It'll knock the voltage down to about 6.2 to 6.5, and that is actually a great voltage to deal with because it's going to be a lot brighter than running right off the receiver. You know, because that difference in voltage, you don't think about it as very much, but it actually is quite a lot in the long haul. You know, 5.8 to 6.5, that's 0.2, that's 0.7 volts, basically, okay? That's a lot of voltage when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, you know, and that's kick butt, okay? And I do have my headlights running right now too, which run actually a little dimmer, which is fine. They're another culprit altogether that we'll talk about on the review of those. But you will need the multi-pack resistors. You're also going to need a multimeter to test the power coming off of the chosen battery source, whether it be a 3-cell LiPo power source, where you're going to go 3-cell direct or 2-cell. Being that this thing is only rated to go to 7.4 volts, I would probably stay away from the 3-cell stuff and just go to 2-cell. Check the output voltage off your receiver if you're running a 3-cell battery. See what exactly that your thing is running at, the voltage output. Very easy to test that stuff too. Just pop a JST connector in there, hook up your wires, turn your power on to your truck, and you'll see what kind of voltage you're getting out of there. Anyway, highly recommend it. Pick it up at Wish. You're going to probably pay, you pay about the same amount really by the time you think Banggood and Wish. Wish is a conglomerate of different Chinese sellers, and so they're really competitive for pricing, so you're going to have to look around for the cheapest price for it. But otherwise, Banggood's got this one 3 different prices at least, and this one is actually their cheapest, and it looks to be all the same bar to me. Same specs too, but I don't know why they do that with different prices. But mine, I paid $14.77 and a couple of dollars for shipping, no big deal. Got here pretty quick too. It was Canada direct mail, so it was like 5 to 8 business days, so got here quick. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys. So definitely a cool light bar. Works really, really well. Worked really well in the night video I shot too. But now it's going to work even better now that I got more zip to it. A little more juice always helps. Alright, thanks for watching, and hey, we'll catch you in the next video.